Thank you so much, Dr. Obiambo, and apologies to the team, to my fellow colleagues. This is not our nature. And what happened is that initially I was supposed to make this presentation. Then I remembered that there is a colleague of mine, a very close professional colleague in research, Dr. Damaris Matoke, and she's a malaria specialist. And I thought that she could give slightly even a better presentation than myself. Unfortunately, she has been committed in other meetings, and well, we had to have this delay. But for now, the good news is that Dr. Matoke is around, and I would like to introduce her to you as one of the best young researchers that we have in KEMRI. She's an innovator, and the other day she innovated. We worked together and we came up with a PCR test kit for COVID-19. We have also come up with a proficiency testing panel for COVID-19, and also we intend to come up with even messenger RNA vaccine templates, among other innovations. Therefore, Dr. Matoke, I would request that you take over. I don't want to take a lot of time even in the introduction, and you can start us off. Dr. Matoke, are you ready?
Yes, I am sorry. I didn't notice that I was on mute.
Okay.
Yes, and thanks, Dr. Kimotho, for inviting me to attend this webinar, and the organizers, I really appreciate. As KEMRI, one of the things that we've been doing is looking at how to come up with innovative ways in tackling various diseases such as both communicable and non-communicable. And our team has been working closely with our production department in producing or developing products that can go out there to the market. So maybe, I don't know if I need to share the slides, but I can speak to them as we hear here. Well, I'll be speaking mainly on these malaria kits that we've developed. The thinking was that, yes, sorry?
You have been unable to share your screen.
Okay, just a second. Okay, maybe as the slides come up, one of the things that we acknowledge, which everyone here knows, that malaria is really a disease of public health concern. And one of the things is that the disease is quite endemic in mainly places like Sub-Saharan Africa. And it's a disease that has been with us for years, thousands of years. Therefore, if you realize that COVID-19, when it came up, we quickly were able to get a vaccine a little bit faster. But malaria, which has been taking lives of people, like in the WHO, the year 2020, they produced a report, and 96% of the cases came from Sub-Saharan Africa. And of these, 95% of the deaths were still also from Sub-Saharan Africa. So it's important to think through innovative ways to tackle this disease, and more so ways to be able to diagnose and then treat. Because the challenge has been over time is that people self-medicate in a way that people feel symptoms, which might not be malaria, but they go over the counter and get the drugs and treat, which is now leading to issues of resistance. So if we do proper diagnosis by going to the communities and sensitizing the community that it's important to test before you take the drugs for the anti-malarials, then it will help us counter resistance to the various drugs that we have in the market. So as KEMRI, we came together and decided to develop the Malaria Rapid Kit. And this kit was courtesy of the presidential directive, which came on board through the president being the chairman of African Leaders Malaria Alliance. And one of his goal was to be able to come up with local and innovative ways of tackling the disease within the country and also within the African region altogether. So are my slides come up? Can you see my slides?
Not yet.
And now? Okay, maybe I don't know.
Not yet. Yes, now they're loading. Good.
Okay. Okay. So the kit now is called Plasmocheck, like Plasmodium check. And this was done locally with the scientists within KEMRI, and we partners with various laboratories in the country to be able to evaluate this kit. So as I said, this came through a directive from the president, which came into KEMRI in the year 2020, November, where he asked what can KEMRI do? And if possible, if we can look at developing this diagnostic kit. So the kit we developed courtesy of the lateral flow chromatographic immunoassay that is supposed to detect Plasmodium. And here it detects both all the strains of malaria, including, falciparum, but also Malaria vivax and also Ovel. It consists of monoclonal anti-PHRP2 antibody conjugated with Collido Gold. And also it contains a monoclonal anti-PLDH antibody conjugated with Collido Gold 2, and a control antibody conjugated with Collido Gold, and also it has a nitrocellulose membrane. These materials, we procure them. However, there are plans to see how we can be able to make them. And also it has a control line. So Plasmocheck, a malaria rapid test kit, is intended for qualitative pathogen detection of malaria-causing parasites. As I already mentioned, the species of the parasite it detects. And the kit utilizes antibodies specific to Plasmodium falciparum histidine-rich proteins, that's the PHR2. This is already what we have in the market. This is the protein that is being targeted by at least most of the kits that are currently in the market. And also they add protein lactate dehydrogenase to simultaneously detect the different and differentiate infection. The test can be performed by untrained or minimally skilled personnel, and really it does not require a laboratory setup. This is most rapid kits require that, and the kit meets that kind of categorization. So as I said, the packaging, it contains the cassette for testing, and also it contains the buffer. So yes, one package insert, and it has one cassette device. It has a descant, and also 5 microliter blood transfer device, and also a lysis buffer, lancet, and also swabs. It's packaged in the way most of the rapid kits are packaged. So as far as concerning sensitivity and specificity, what we found that sensitivity of this kit compared to PCR is 93.3%. And also specificity is at least 100%. So we are continuously improving to reach the target of at least, because the acceptable limits are about 96 to 100%. And we compared also this together with microscopy and also PCR. So we were able to it reached around 93.3%. However, currently, which as I'm speaking, we are at around 98%, and that data I can present another time. So as far as taking this kit forward, we've been able to register this kit under the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. And this has been given a certificate that is valid from the February 2022 this year to around February 2027. So why this kit and why it's important? And I know that we say that malaria is endemic in Kenya and the African region at large, but also if we did produce the kit locally other than importing from other countries in the West and also the East like China and others, it will be able to save, like for Kenya alone, direct saving in excess of about 58 million annually on malaria testing, because we consume about 14 million test kits in the country. And also it's gonna encourage prompt diagnosis of malaria. And this also responds to attainment of the UHC in the country. The other thing that's the importance of this kit is that support community malaria indicator survey, because we usually do the malaria indicator surveys, and therefore this adds to value to the value chain addition. The other thing has been able to produce these kits locally, it enables job creation, because we are also going to have local manufacturers take it up and produce, because one of the things that we accept within KEMRI, KEMRI's mandate is not manufacturing. We are able to produce prototypes. Then we partner with local factories or industry to be able to produce this into large scale. The other thing, we'll be able to expand this into the regional and continental market, and also be able to strengthen local innovation, research and development on groundbreaking health products and technologies. What I wanted to add in this and actually around here is that this kit, one of the things that we are doing in the next steps is to be able to produce, because it's reported that we have issues to do with HRP2 deletions in a way that people are tested, but they tend to miss. People are positive, turn negative based on the other kits. So the other research we are currently doing in our laboratories to be able to counter HRP2 super sensitive and better the increased sensitivity. So the other steps that we're doing is seeking WHO pre-qualification, also large-scale production and marketing beyond Kenya. So thank you. Yeah, was I audible?
Yes, you are. Great. Thank you for that. So I believe we are going to the Q&A session. Unless Dr. Kimotho, you have something to share as well on your end before we move to the next phase.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matoke, for your presentation. And there's one very important point that Dr. Matoke told us, and possibly we lost you a little bit. The issue of mutations that are happening with malaria parasites, especially on the protein, HLP protein region. And this one, it is actually one of the biggest challenges that we are likely to face with the use of RDTs. And what KEMRI want to do is that, we want to come up with a breakthrough technology that will be able to address this question of mutants that will fail detection. And we are doing our research, studying various sequences of this, of the plasmodial gene, to try and identify other markers that can be used to detect those escape mutants. That's one of the things that we are doing. And at the same time, one of the benefits that this country is likely to have is that for the first time, we have developed a technology that has not been developed in this country for a long time. Manufacturing of rapid test kits in this country, it has not been possible. Our local pharmaceutical companies, they have not managed to do that because this particular technology it is not as very straightforward technology where we just draw the lines on the script that you see. There has to be a lot of optimizations, experiments, a lot of designs of the plot of those proteins. And our target as KEMRI is that once we do all these things, we are going to transfer these technologies to our local industries. And we want to raise the standard of our industries from being a generic based industry to industries that will be doing those research R&D molecules. And the big plan here is that, is that once we start doing so, in a future that is not very far away, we can work even to develop our own vaccines. And you do know that we have the Kenya BioVax, which is almost being commissioned. What we want to do as researchers is that we want to raise our standards of manufacturing to the next level, where we'll start doing those molecules, new entities, and we support this country in development to that level. This is one thing that I wanted to add to what Dr. Matoke has said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damaris, and thank you, Dr. Kimotho, for the wonderful presentations. It's clear that there are advances that we are making to position ourselves as an innovative hub in terms of developing solutions that are not conventionally from our ecosystem, and actually positioning ourselves to be able to address the needs of our very communities. Because one of the key things that we have to acknowledge is the fact that when you look at the burden of malaria, it's substantially higher within the sub-Saharan African continent. And most of the innovations, actually the development of these technologies have not been happening in our space. But now, based on the work that you presented and the key advances that you're making, we are seeing the prospects of actually driving that innovation in our ecosystem. So one thing I'll just start from the one question that I know most of us would be keen on, especially the young pharmacists that we have in the room. How does one get to engage in such kind of research? How would they be part of the innovative ecosystem that you have at KEMRI?
Possibly, I will answer this because being a pharmacist,
yes,
I have been working very closely with the School of Pharmacy, and I do lecture in the Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacognosy. And the idea is that I do lecture at the level of masters and PhDs. And what we have been doing is that we have been trying to get these pharmacies to come and join R&D, and we give them projects to develop, health technology solutions. And well, I think in short, what I can say is that we normally engage pharmacists at the level of master's degree and PhD. Yeah, because this is the level where pharmacists are exposed to doing research and development. And we have made a lot of progress in this area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. The key bit is we need that exposure to such activities, and the level where you're engaging is through academia, where you have to be through the master's program or even doing that master so that you're exposed to the research components and you can plug into that. And I think that's a critical bit for us as young pharmacists. How do we plug into such spaces and how do we make ourselves grow in that area? Then I see there's another question that has come from Dr. Kanye. Is the product already in the market at the moment? Is the Rdt Kit from KEMRI already in the market? That is to Dr. Matoke. Damaris.
I would say yes, the kit is available because we've been able to produce this. And recently, I think if you recognize when we were marking the World Malaria Day, that was yesterday, but last week when we had this Great Lakes Initiative, Malaria Initiative, courtesy of the various country partners, we donated this kit. So for me, I'll say since it's been registered with our Pharmacy and Poisons Board in the country, it's available for use in the country. However, we are foreseeing, we are pursuing the World Health pre-qualification, which is very important to ensure that the kit is now WHO pre-qualified and it can be used globally. So in Kenya, yes, we're using it. It's available for use. Anyone who wants it can buy it from us at KEMRI, and also to be able to get it and use.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So it's already available in the market. And one of the key questions that I would ask as a follow-up to that could be answered by either you or Dr. Kimotho is what, in this particular forum, we are looking at how to strategically position community pharmacies actually as key service delivery points in our communities. So at these rapid diagnostic kits, do you have a program that is looking at how to improve access to them and actually the use of the same in delivery of services from a community pharmacy perspective? And if so, how does that program look like, so that even some of the people who are here could see how to plug in and drive the uptake of these rapid diagnostic kits?
Maybe I'll partially, Dr. Kimotho, can you go ahead?
Dr. Matoke, you can continue.
Okay. I don't know if it's me. Is Dr. Kimotho speaking?
You can speak first. You can speak first. Possibly, I will come first while we are waiting for Dr. Matoke to prepare herself. I think you see, and this is my view. RDTs, they have the simplest test that can be used, and for me, I cannot see any hindrance that can prevent pharmacists from using malaria RDTs. And for me, I think it is the way to go. This is my view. And what we need to do as KEMRI is to possibly mount a study of showing how this one can be done. But my strong conviction, and I know it is possible, and it is the way to go, is that pharmacies should be able and should be given all the authority to use these kits in their pharmacy. Dr. Matoke, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything, but what you've said is, yeah, good.
Okay.
Definitely, that's a good approach. And the key bit, as that mentioned, is that this needs to go through community pharmacies, but there has to be a best practice, a model of how that could work. And I think that is where now for us as pharmacists who are in the platform and following up on this conversation, you need to ask ourselves, how are we going to the next phase and actually deliver by one? Can we have a research study that can give us models on how this could work? And even looking at the global best practices, then in the next phase on rollout, we need to be actively engaged and see how that works. So definitely believe it's something that would be keen to explore. Even as Africa Pharmaceutical Network, it is an area that we're keen on, like positioning the integral outlet centers, that is the community pharmacies, to serve communities. And that would be a key bit. Then another question that has just come from Michelle is, how much does this kit cost approximately? And how does it compare with the other available rapid diagnostic kits as well?
For the cost, the kits are, because in the market, what we have, the kits in the market cost around 300, minimum 300 shillings.
Yes.
This kit for KEMRI, we are positioning it. At the moment, we are talking about 60 shillings. However, we'll be reviewing this based on the current, the expense of the materials, but it's cheaper. It's way cheaper than what we have in the market. It's costing, at the moment, we've costed it at 60 shillings.
Okay. And then another question, just as a follow-up to that, for the rapid diagnostic kit, we know the other diagnostic kits that are made available even to individuals, to the general public, for example, the HIV rapid diagnostic kit. For the malaria diagnostic kit, is it targeted to healthcare providers specifically, or is it also available for sale to the general public?
I think two ways. For us, it's more to provide this kit to the Ministry of Health and anyone else who needs it. So equipping the health facilities will be important, but however, the kit should be able to be supplied in the various chains through either KEMSA, etc., and be available to the general public for use. However, the target group initially will be the Ministry of Health and other partners.
Okay. Any other questions? I see the question that I had on the chat box are already exhausted. Anyone who has something to share, you're free to unmute your microphone and share, and even ask your questions. Great. Seems your presentation captured everything that they had, the questions that were there, and made clarity in terms of the potential that we have. So with that, I think I'll hand it over to the HOPAC team to give us their remarks. And I believe today we even have the Executive Secretary on board with us. Dr. York, can take over, please.
Greetings. I don't know. Dr. Kanye, are you online?
Yes, I am, Yukabeth. I also see Dr. York online, and David Viambo had requested her to speak, so, but I don't know if she can hear us.
Sorry, I was having challenges with the microphone, but thank you for the session. I've enjoyed day 2. I'll not say much today. I said I wanted to be an participant. Thank you.
Thank you. Yukabeth or Dr. Kanye, you have anything to share?
Thank you, members, for attending today's session. This makes day 2. We hope to see you tomorrow. And just to confirm that the sessions are on the portal, you can go ahead and subscribe. These CPD tokens will be emailed to you once the series is over. And remember, we usually award our points. You have to have attended the meeting. You have to have attended the meeting for at least 30 minutes. And we look forward to meeting after the malaria session. We have other events lined up for you. And what's coming next is we have an anticoagulation workshop, a half-day anticoagulation workshop in the month of May. So we look forward to interacting with you. It will be a hybrid session. We'll have it physically, where we'll get to learn the role of pharmacists. What can you do to participate in anticoagulation? And we can get to even learn from you what you're already doing. It will be a hybrid session. So we'll both attend online and physically in Nairobi, and we'll have more events coming to you. So we hope to see you tomorrow. Let's keep time and let's have the session in, let's interact further. And at this point, I'd like to ask us, the meeting is over. Today's CPD session is over. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure being your host. My name is Yukabeth. Good night.
Thank you so much, Yukabeth. Just to finalize as we head to our beds and to finalize the day, tomorrow the last session will be on policy imperative for community pharmacists' involvement in malaria management. And the focus of this will be key in terms of looking at how do we transition it from actual practice, that is from the community engagement, social mobilization, and diagnosis of malaria as we've discussed, the innovative advancement, and even the treatment of malaria, as we know, the uncomplicated and the severe malaria. Then the next phase would be, how do we make these mainstream? So tomorrow we'll be looking at the policy imperative, and that would be a review on the policy. We have the Kenya Malaria Strategy 2019 to 2023. And then we have the Kenya Malaria Report that was published in 2020, looking at the care delivery models. Then with that, then the question would be, how do we move it to the next phase? And that is where we'll be having discussions based on best practices that are currently in the market, and some of the advances that we envision would be into that future, and what your role could be as an individual practitioner, as a healthcare provider, and as an individual member of the community in improving access to that quality healthcare. We're hoping we'll have you again tomorrow as we wind up these series of conversations, and we'll make the best of it. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, our key